that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
This nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
United, there is little we cannot do in a host of cooperative ventures. Divided, there is little we can do.
Day after day, we take for granted the many luxuries that modern life has to offer. From rich foods, social life, entertainment, shelter, clothes, and an education, it seems like we never take the time to appreciate it all and get to a point where it's all simply expected. Well, imagine a life where these luxuries vanish and existence becomes a minute-to-minute struggle. Life is reduced to the streets, and the simple things like food and warmth become a hard-to-find commodity. Homelessness is an ever-growing problem across the country and is sure to be intensified in these coming years. The shocking thing to most is that these homeless are not all the stereotypical drug-dealing, chip-on-the-shoulder, and beyond help type of people. They are human beings like you and me, and often have so much to say to anyone who will take the time to listen.
At 15, I ran away from home, went to Florida, became very successful. I developed in auto detailing and did my own business there. I met this lovely lady and we got married. We had 3 lovely children. 18 years later, because of my addiction of alcohol, I lost it all.
Good life. Father was military for 20 years. After my father got out of the military, well, while he was in the military, we bought a house in Carolina. Raised in Carolina, went to good schools. Good health care because my father was military, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then I joined the military. After the military, got out, got married. Nice house, nice trucks, nice everything. That fell apart after maybe 10 years. And there was a period where I was down on myself, decided to change. You know, it's like 15 degrees below zero. You know, so decided to change, come out here, see what it's like. You know, didn't bring enough money to get started the correct way, but thought, you know, I've known about the little shelters and things like that. Thought I'd take a trip down, see what's happening, and then get on my feet. And that's still the goal.
It's tough. It's tough out here. You know, it is. But it's a decision we all make. Because we all don't need to be out here. But honestly, we don't. We fall into, you don't have no responsibility. It's more freer out here.
The recidivism, people that go to prison all the time, people do this.
That's what they call repeat.
This is what they're comfortable with. If they get into your stratosphere, right, you know what I'm saying, then they have to do more and they're uncomfortable.
In San Diego alone, there are approximately 7,000 homeless. That's 7,000 of our fellow human beings without a roof over their heads. Of those, almost 1,200 have served our country in the military. Surprisingly though, despite the rejection, disloyalty, and feelings of failure, homeless citizens like Ed and Bill somehow find it in themselves to be hopeful and optimistic.
It doesn't do anything for you. So you have to have a positive attitude. Appreciate the little things that you get.
Just because you're out here doesn't mean that you're lost and you're in misery. Most of your happiest people is out here because you ain't got all that other ruckus to put up with.
To have a negative attitude would get me nowhere, would profit me nothing, and it would really be a general waste of my time.
Choose, because I choose to be here, okay? I have not put forth effort to changing where I'm at. I've laid down, and I haven't decided to get up yet.
Despite the admirable and wise attitudes of Ed and Bill, there are unquestionably those who find reason to blame. In their differing viewpoints, conflicts arise, as we got a first-hand glimpse of in the middle of our interview.
Let me say this. I'm just talking. You want your glory? Is that what you here for, your glory? It must be your glory, because I'm going to tell you how this on the street. And these stabbings and shootings you've been talking about.
Through his understandable anger and resentment, we heard the other side of the argument.
The only thing I'm saying is that if the government can bail out GM, Ford, and all the rest of these companies, we get harassed every day, American citizens, just because we're homeless. It's a crime in saying they're going to be homeless. It is a crime because we're treated like common criminals. I have never been convicted or even been in the courtroom for a crime. But for someone to handcuff me, to have me to sit on the curb, run my ID, and frisk me down, I've done nothing. The only crime I've ever committed in San Diego is I'm a homeless man. That's the only crime I've ever committed. Like I said, when they get through building all these rich people that has everything, have more than they ever need in life, then they'll solve this problem. We got a ballpark, probably worth billions. We got a convention centers, probably worth billions, and they sit empty right now. They sitting empty. How is it that we are a threat? How we sleep on the ground? How is it that we are such a threat? We are human beings. We are human beings. And so one day, all these Christians that call themselves Christians would do as Christ commanded them to do. And that's to help the poor and the needy. God bless you.
We empathize with his feelings of animosity and wrongful accusations against the homeless, and recognize society's inability to effectively aid them. Surely, the true crime is that any man, woman, or child should have to sleep on the sidewalk. However, there has to be some level of personal responsibility.
That's what I was telling you. I can lay blame, and he said the same thing. I can lay blame all day long. Yeah, they don't do. Okay, that's wonderful. What are you doing as an individual? It doesn't matter. What are you doing as an individual? That's what's going to get you up and above the hump. They knock you down, and so there are certain hurdles. But if you have the initial, the wherewithal, you will get out. You will get out. So, you need to find, after us, you need to find the people that made it. Come see me in a couple of months. I'll be one of those people. I'm going to tell you that now. I'll be one of those people.
They're caught in the black hole, and this is among what they call the Sidewalk Heaven, and they're caught in it and spinning. It's an addiction.
The lessons from Ed and Bill and their respective philosophies and attitudes serve as a lesson to us all. Not only do they falsify the stigmas surrounding the homeless community as an uneducated, lower life form, but they remind us all how lucky we truly are, not only for our material wealth, but lucky for the people around us and the mere fact that we are alive. Their story shows how we are not always responsible for the events in our lives, but are always responsible to the events in our lives. By choosing an attitude of hope, the toils and struggles only make them stronger.
It's a blind eye, see, because it's expected. They say, oh, here we go, we're on this corner. And now they see nothing but trees. They look above us.
That when people look at me, I'm invisible. How do you think that makes me feel? So I have to have that something extra in me, in my core, either in my upbringing or in what I've been taught through life or whatever, to want to get out of this.
The problem of homelessness is undoubtedly complex, but we should all remember the men, women, and children sleeping on our sidewalks tonight. They are just the same as you and I.